Good evening. The latest figures from last year's census in England and Wales show how quickly the population has been changing over the past decade. The number of residents born overseas has risen sharply. The census also records a big change in people's attitude to religion. Our home editor, Mark Easton, has more details.
The noughties in numbers, a decade of significant social change revealed by the census, in particular the impact of waves of immigration from the Commonwealth and Eastern Europe. The proportion of people in England and Wales describing themselves as white British has fallen from 87% to 80% in 10 years, still the majority in every locality except one. In London, only 45% of people call themselves British and white.
Here in the borough of Newham in East London, just 1 person in 6 describes themselves as white British. London is truly an international city these days, with more than 1/3 of the population having been born abroad.
Across the whole of England and Wales, the population born overseas has risen by 2.9 million in 10 years. 1.2 million residents were born in India or Pakistan. But Poland is now the country with the second largest number, almost 580,000, a rise of 500,000 in a decade. The figures will reignite debate as to whether immigration is putting too much pressure on resources and threatening our identity.
The most important thing is the speed with which immigration has been taking place. That's what concerns people. If we want people to integrate, we've got to slow it down. We've got to manage better the numbers coming in.
Immigration is an important component of UK economic growth. Quite a lot of immigrants have contributed hugely to Britain's growth story, particularly skilled workers who are part of a global market for talent. And these are the kinds of people we need to attract if we're to be able to grow our businesses in future.
The Lincolnshire town of Boston has seen dramatic cultural change. It now has the highest proportion of Polish residents outside London. Almost 1 in 20 of people here come from Eastern Europe.
Boston changed last 5 years big time, and the Eastern Europeans coming more and more.
Everybody wants a better life, and that's why they are coming here.
Despite the arrival of largely Catholic East Europeans, the proportion of people describing themselves as Christian has fallen sharply. In 2001, 72% identified as Christian. Now it's 59%, and the proportion reporting no religion has risen from 15% to 25%. Norwich may be home to a bishop, but it's won a reputation as the most godless place in England. 43% of people here say they have no religion.
Just goes with the territory of, what's going on in the world, isn't it? So not a lot of people believe these days.
Sundays and that are spent shopping, I suppose, nowadays, aren't they? Which is the next big religion, or football, I suppose you can have it.
At the cathedral, though, they're agnostic about the census findings on religion.
Here in this cathedral, we're seeing literally hundreds of people through the doors every day this month for carol services. So if it is the case that we're the most godless city, then I dread to think what it must be like for those who have got a more vibrant church going.
The Census 2011 is identifying significant cultural and social change. Home ownership has fallen for the first time in 60 years. More adults now have a degree than have no qualifications. But it's increasing diversity that history will perhaps remember as the defining feature of Britain in the noughties. Mark Easton, BBC News.
And you can see more details on the 2011 census and the key changes in your area of England or Wales by visiting our interactive map. That's at the BBC website, bbc.co.uk/news, and have a look at the links there for you. Now, the government